like the like this game typically like in the middle game was quite messy, like nothing was going right, so I'm kind of lost in these situations.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this happens a lot in kind of these elos, but yeah. So the first clear was good. Um, this is fine, and then we end up getting the skull right. Yeah. Okay. No, so let's stick them up, which is kind of nice. It's refreshing to see people actually move in gold, but
Mm-hmm.
Aatrox still gets out, but it's okay.
This Ugort was quite reactive actually. He followed up on the call on Nocturne like for first time in the river.
Oh yeah, yeah, he wasn't too bad
And
actually, and he did
since I
actually pop
see
off.
that, I really appreciate this kind of player. Then I
Yeah,
try and play with him. Ah, that was free.
yeah,
That's why I love Shaco. Like
yeah.
you
Their
see,
bot
you see
hardened.
people leaving low life, and you're pretty sure they're gonna stay around.
Yeah,
So you just pass the front lane invisible, and then
yeah. So I do think this is a mistake though with kind of your build. I really think if you start running Sorks, you'll massively see the difference. Um, it's just so powerful, especially like if you're into squishy teams as well. You can go so many different items on Shaco. Obviously, Leandri's is nice; it gives more value against tanky teams, but it is nice. But then you've also got things like Ludens. You can even go Rocket Belt as well. So you do have a lot of options. Like one of the main things you want to be looking for when you're playing these kind of strong kind of early game mages is you always want to look for your soak boots and your dark seal. So soak boots reduce MR by 18, and the average kind of MR of a champion at base is only around 32.
okay.
So the MR that you actually get from that, I mean, let's say for example, if we did go, say Ludens, or I think Ludens might be more fun for the movement speed, or say Rocket Belt, they would also give pen, especially Rocket Belt. So with boots, Rocket Belt, and Medjai's, because Medjai's also classes as a mythic, you end up getting 11 magic pen from Rocket Belt, and then 18 from
So you're
boots.
saying that the magic pen passive of this would be useful compared to
Yes.
the passive of Leandre's.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
Leandri's helps you with tankier like enemies, and obviously it is. Don't get me wrong, it is a very good item on Shaco,
Mm-hmm.
but when you're getting these really big early leads, kind of penetration is insanely strong. Like
Okay.
it's so
Okay.
valuable. So like I said, you've got that 11, 29. So you can basically get 29 magic pen at three items, and one of those two items, sorry, and one of those items is just a Medjai, so it's cheap. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
if you're snowballing like this, it allows you to keep snowballing, and then you can go into something like maybe like a void staff after it, and you just end up ridiculously strong.
Okay. Yeah, I'm always struggling, and maybe this is the reason why. When I'm ahead with the AP Shaco, like I don't feel I'm so strong. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I don't really feel I can always people.
Your goal with kind of any AP champion is to get as close to true damage as possible, because the way you have to think of it is your abilities are in like a set or rotation, right? It's like this is like a set of four, and we get one of these. Now, say for example, we our goal is to use our set once and they die, right? But it's
Mm-hmm.
like the more magic resist they get, the more we have to use this set. So we have to use it 2 times, 3 times, 4 times to get kills. Now, if we're getting to these upper like amounts, that's really really bad for us because we're just not doing anything, you know.
Mm.
So it's like that penetration means that unless they opt in to buying MR early into the game, you're really good. And even if they do, it's still fine. So even
Mm-hmm.
for example, Merc Treads give so much damage reduction. It's unreal.
So, for instance, in this case, you're saying that I should consider sometimes going magic pen boots.
Yeah, yeah. I think they're very very good on any AP champion.
I don't know.
And the thing is, They were a little better when they were cheaper, but the thing is, like, those boots are kind of the boots you get either if you need the CDR or if you're on a budget. Now, it is reducing your summoner spell CDR slightly, but like you wouldn't need that on a low cooldown if you're ridiculously ahead anyway, if that makes
Okay, yeah.
sense. Because so
Yeah, it
for
makes.
perspective as well, 25 resistances equates to I think 20% damage reduction. So even if they get 20, like even if they get Merc Treads, that you're then going to reduce their Merc Treads instead. So you're still going to be damaging them based on their base MR rather than treads, and that's kind of the only real magic resist you're going to see early game anyway. So you can either just avoid the people with mercs and just blow people up, or most people,
Mm.
especially in the silo, will never really rush boots. Like people just
No,
don't.
I always do. I always do.
No, no, no. I mean,
But
it's in like laners and stuff,
oh, okay, okay.
Like, but yeah, I think you would have got more value, and also I think you should have got Dark Seal at that point as well. So as soon as you're back with this much gold, I think Dark Seal is huge here too.
Okay.
Another reasons
Just for me
why.
to build the Angie,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay.
Also, another thing that's quite good about getting, say, Proto Belt is obviously it makes you a bit more tanky, but on top of that, it gives the item that builds into an alternator is a huge damage spike because it
Yeah,
just
and
gives you
size.
more burst. Yeah,
It works good on the boxes too.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I never really reconsidered playing Proctable, but I really love having this, let's say,
dash.
the short gap.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
it's
think
really
it's
nice.
pretty great. Yeah, that. What do you say about this one?
Yeah, so
I
one of
wasn't
the
really
things
sure how to
here,
gank.
I think one of the things here, and this is kind of a normal thing on Shaco, something that you do probably need to get used to, is you're not controlling your clone properly.
Okay.
So you're basically two champions in these situations. So you have to kind of be able to micromanage two champions at the same time,
Uh-huh.
and this is kind of why it's hard. So right here, you see, we're not even giving the clone a movement command.
A purpose, yeah.
Yeah, we're just letting him go. Whereas what we could have done is moved him up here, kept him hitting Jin, and keep him spacing like this,
Yeah, yeah.
while we maybe focus Thresh to peel for Ezreal, and then we just jump on him when Aku's back up.
I try and do that as much as I can, but I sometimes forget it or
Yeah,
it depends really
it's
on the
definitely
match.
hard. Don't get me wrong, but this is kind of one of the really really important things to Shaco. Because the amount of things you can do with it is insane. You can do so much.
Yeah.
And then here, because our like, see, we don't control it at all again.
Mhm.
So here we just leave it stand there.
Usually, what I do is that I give him a target. Like sometimes I usually give him a target and then I try and focus on my main.
Uh,
Sometimes, especially with the red buff, it's kind of getting some people. Or I just send him to the back lane in team fights,
yeah, I
so
mean
that
that's
he
fine
gets
too.
loaded in the middle. But I don't really manage it clearly good. I think,
Yeah.
but I don't know how to train this. I mean,
I mean, you just have to. So whenever you're looking to improve on anything, like you have to kind of set yourself steps. So it's like one of the things you could do is, do you have sticky notes anywhere?
mm, yeah, I can use them.
Yeah. So a really really good tactic you can do is get those sticky notes and like put say 5 things on those sticky notes that you want to improve on, and then what you want to do is you want to paste like put them around your monitor. So it's
So I
like,
read them before the game. So
yeah, and it's not just before the game. You'll also be reading them while you're in game. So you'll say, look at your minimap, and then you'll see something that says, like focus on controlling R better. And then you'll see it, and even if you don't read it, your brain is reading it. So the way your kind of brain works is everything that's in your sight, it's
take into account.
yeah, that information is processed already. It's just a case of when you focus on actually reading it or doing it that you make an active thing of getting it. But yeah, you're basically reading everything around you constantly, even if you don't realize. So having these sticky notes around the monitor that you're looking at like permanently, you'll start picking up on these things massively.
That's a sneaky method.
Yeah, it's really OP. It's busted. I'm glad Riot haven't nerfed it yet, to be honest. or the mental police haven't nerfed it because, jeez. But yeah, it's like, obviously practice tool is good as well, but like the real game is where things change. So
Nah, I mean, I
it's
don't
better.
have patience to go
Yeah,
much in practice school.
I don't too much.
What do you think is the best ban? I mean, alright, depends on the playstyle, but I'm changing right to Mundo right now because I think it's quite too OP for me.
Mundo
Jungle, I don't
Mundo
know.
can't jungle anymore.
You sure?
Yeah,
So,
I've heard a lot of people say that
okay.
Mundo can't jungle anymore because they changed his kit. So basically, one of the things that was so good about Mundo is that his W gave him one of the fastest clears in the game.
True.
But his new W doesn't work the same, I'm pretty certain. I haven't played him too much, but so it just means that he can't really jungle. So yeah, this was fine. We just sucked the wave. No point giving away XP. The only thing there though as well, what you could have done is before you reset, just walk down and clear your wolves out. Because now there's no moment of the game where you want to go and clear those out, right? Because you want to go to this and then you want to go bot lane, but so yeah, just clear them out before you go. You wanna kind of see the map as just like 4 equal segments. If you know you're not going to be in one segment for quite a while, you want to make sure that everything that you need to do is done, and then you go into the other, like another segment. Right, so
Yeah,
okay,
there
right, so yeah, this was to do with your spacing. So right here, so this is fine. We know Miles is here, but that's fine. So what we actually want to be doing here is we want to queue over to like here, and then start harassing him with, for example, our E, and then space him away because he's either going to keep hitting this ward where we can get more pressure on him. We could even go to here and then use the fake Shaco to just push him off, and that would have been fine. So it's like,
yeah, I did quite an all in there.
yeah. So that one of the big things with control wards is the kind of catch is in the name, right? They're control wards. Now, what does that entail? What does that mean about their purpose? What do you think? I'll give you the answer. Don't worry. But
Well, I mean, it's always trick tactics, especially there when like tricks up and I know they're around.
okay. But what do control wards actually give you? Well, what do they do, like gameplay wise?
Gameplay wise, they just enhance the overall vision of the team.
Yeah. So
Against
the
adversaries.
Yeah, so the key is that they're control wards. So they allow you to control an area. Now, controlling an area in League means that you basically have like the advantage, right? It means that if they walk into that area that you are controlling, then they're going to get punished, right? Now, the problem is, was this our control ward actually? Yeah, it was. Now, the problem is the fact that we put this down, and then at this point, so we've just put a control ward in an area where if they walk up to it, they just take it out. So there's nobody to actually defend that ward. So that's the biggest problem, really. Like, we've put a ward down, but there's nobody to defend it, so the control ward isn't actually giving us control of that area. So the initial mistake was that we even put it down. But then, yeah, like I said, then we jump over and we walk in range of Malzahar. So if we're going to go and try and get harass on him here, we need to make sure that we're tethering away from Miles, because we have our Silas here that can come down and help anyway, but we're in range of him now, where we should have been like here, where he can't actually ult us, and we would have been fine then. So yeah, just positioning is obviously a little bit off, but and yeah.
Should have it earlier, so.
So it's a suppress. Suppress always goes through, basically.
Okay.
So as soon as he clicks it on you, it'll go through. The only way that it can be stopped is QSS or if he moves, which is also a very common thing in low elo mals. Right, so
How Or if he gets fear, for instance, right?
Yeah, if he gets CC'd as he's using it, but you're not going to be able to CC him unless...
No, you're true.
Yeah, there's no way. I mean, you can maybe put a
Unless you
box.
put a box just before it.
Yeah,
And
straight
then
away,
just right.
but it's a rough timing. And also, if he's got his passive, it'll stop the fear.
True.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I committed on this guy.
No, this was fine. This was okay.
Really cool. Oh yes, you're right.
Yeah, this was perfectly fine. Because that was a nice big shutdown too. I can't believe this Ezreal, like, people were telling him to go Sundra and he still went with the old build.
Yeah. I don't know.
People don't read the patch notes. Actually, I it's not in the patch notes, but people don't keep up with their champs, I guess.
This was sad. I should have pursued him more. I mean,
Yeah, so we just messed up with that Q.
yeah, and then I saw the
Yeah.
the ultimate.
So right here,
Yeah, I should have queued it the other way.
yeah, you should have queued to here. And then we would have been
Wait
okay.
for the animation and then queue or something. I don't know.
No. I mean, yeah, I mean, we don't even need to do that. If we would have just queued, like, so the thing is, right now, you have to think that this Thresh, he's obviously playing Thresh, pretty hard champion in a fairly low elo. So it's like right now, he's just seen you here, and he's seen you go Invis. So his first idea is going to be, oh shit, he's on top of me. So this is kind of to do with patience a little bit, really, because right here we can either make a greedy move and queue straight on top of him and try and hit him before he flays us, which it's just too high variance. There's no real reason to it. Or we can play it smart, queue to here, use our cell duration to get behind him, and then he's already flayed, and then we just kill him like that.
Yeah, okay.
So it's kind of actually, oh, we could have actually killed him and then kept chasing whoever was over here, actually. But yeah, we just make the mistake of jumping directly on top of him. Although he's got no orb for some reason. It's kind of strange. Again, as we can see, this quadrant. So the Krugs were down. So what we should have done here is we know our blue's up and we know we're going to go into that top side. But, so this is kind of to do with timing, to be honest. And it was,
Timing,
yeah, it was too hard to explain as you're in game. But what should your, what should you be looking to do right now?
I guess I had the money for the Leandry, so I wanted to reset.
So, you do, but resetting's not the right call here. Now, if you reset and come out, what's the first thing that you'll end up doing when you come out of the base?
Blue.
Okay, yeah. Now, is there anywhere on the map that you need to be right now for your team? So is there any objectives or anything that are of use to you right now?
Well, I mean, top's pushed in our direction, so maybe
Okay.
Herald.
I mean,
But otherwise-
Herald is useless at this point. So it's not a useful objective because it's gone past 14 minutes. Even though it's going to be a first tower, the amount of time it's going to take you to actually get that Herald, you could have made the gold that you'd get from first tower elsewhere.
So no, then there are no really.
Yeah,
objectives.
yeah. So that's the correct answer. So if there's no objectives up, what should you be looking to do?
Just clear.
Yeah, exactly. Clear everything. Just go through your entire jungle. So your goal should have been to come straight to these Krugs, then to these, this, get blue last because you want to keep it for longer, and then you reset and you spend 2,000 gold instead of 1,400. So it's about kind of, if you don't have anywhere on the map that you need to be, prioritize yourself. So if there's an objective, if dragon is up right now, if it's a mountain dragon up right now, obviously you need to get to that, so you wouldn't be able to. But yeah, you need to just prioritize yourself and make sure that you're as strong as possible. Now, why? Another kind of subsection to that. So why do you think that full clearing is also extremely beneficial to you right now? What special happens about the camps at this point?
I don't know.
Okay, it's to do with your level.
Oh, okay. Like I just leveled up. No, I don't know.
So as soon as you turn level 9, The camps give you 35% bonus XP
Okay.
just for being level 9.
Okay. Okay.
So if, say, for example, you take 3 camps here, in theory, you just get an extra camp for free of XP because you get 35% more.
Yeah. Yeah.
It gives 1.35 instead of just the 1. So, yeah, so we could basically clear out our entire jungle, especially this side, and we end up with such a huge lead of XP. And this is why kind of farming junglers are really good, because once they get to level 9, they get so much more XP that they get multiple levels above. Now,
Okay. Yeah. I didn't know that actually.
yeah. So how much do you think a level is worth in base stats? In terms of gold that you gain, how much do you think you gain in gold for the stats that you gain per level?
I don't know.
So it's roughly, on average, about 575 per level.
Okay.
So if you're level 9 and then you get this enhanced kind of XP, and then you end up 1, 2, 3 levels up on people, then that's thousands of gold in advantage. You just become a tank purely through levels because they can't actually do anything. And this is also, you also get more resistances from levels too than, say, damage. So this is kind of one of the reasons as well. I think so anyway. So this is kind of one of the reasons why you want to prioritize damage if you're or this is why you can prioritize defenses if you're ahead, sorry. Because if you're already ahead and you're doing more than enough damage, you just want to make sure you're as tanky as possible so that you don't die.
Yeah, that surprised me when you said that we could go for tankiness at this stage, because, like my first thought is, I'm ahead, let's burst them and just build AP as fuck. Like, I don't really.
Yeah.
My way of thinking is not that I go tanky when I'm ahead, but.
Yeah, the thing you have to think is, if, say, for example, we're looking at a mid laner that falls behind. So, say we're playing, say, Victor into an AD mid, something that can harass him, maybe like a Nocturne. Now, if that Nocturne pulls ahead early, and he keeps itemizing in damage, then he's going to continuously do damage. But if the Victor tries to itemize into defenses to reduce his damage, he's never going to do enough damage to actually come back, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So it's like you need to keep building that damage so you at least have enough damage that you can kill them if they mess up and the opportunity arises. So yeah, so when you're ahead, if you already have plenty of damage, like this game we were so fed, like our damage was insane anyway. So we've already got plenty of damage, we just need to survive as long as possible. Especially considering, like we previously mentioned, you've got these kind of abilities that are going to be rotating multiple times. If you can get, say, 4 rotations off of pure damage, that's doing a lot, especially if we have Sorg Shoes, Medjais, and more pen, then we're basically just going to rip through them like really easy. So, and then again, if they build defenses, they just don't have the damage to kill us. So it's a weird concept, but it's obviously there are some exceptions to it, but overall, it's really good to go by. Like one of the main exceptions is if your job is to literally only 100 to 0 somebody. So, for example, if you're playing something like Eve and you don't one-shot somebody, then you're useless. So that's kind of one of the big exceptions.
I mean, when I go AD Shaco, it's quite always the case also. Like, I never really build hybrid stuff or whatever.
Yeah. So, yeah, here one of the kind of mistakes was... so he'd already procced the box, which is fine. But here we want to actually save our Q. So why do we want to save our Q?
Yeah, just to escape or replace.
Yeah, so he already knows we're here because he's just popped the box. I mean, obviously you could have put that down ages ago, but there's a risk that it gets popped by a minion, so it's kind of unlikely. Now, the thing is here as well, his tether has to be within range. So it's got like a range on it, and if you escape that range, then you're fine. So what you could do there is use your Q to get out of that tether, and then he can't fear you, and then you'll have your ult up, and then you can scrap him a bit more.
That's a common mistake I do with Shaco is that I use my kit, too early in the fight.
Yeah.
Like, same with the ultimate, like, the other guy that was coaching me told me, like, I never used and don't use it enough in order to dodge spells.
Yeah, so the timing of it is really, really important. I think overall, just kind of your ults in general are probably the weakest thing at the minute. It's like here as well, right? So look how you use your ult. Now, one of the reasons why Shaco is actually ridiculously strong, I mean, unless they know. So, I mean, it's kind of pointless me saying that in a way, because what you can do with Shaco as well is if you left click him and have a look in the top left, the real Shaco will have like a gold border around his mythic.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I mean, but not many people know it, so it's fine. Now the problem is here, like your ultimate is kind of an ability that it's very hard to tell which one is a real one and which one's a fake one. So one of the main things you actually do with Shaco is you play the clone like it's the main
That's what I
Shaco.
mean, yeah.
Yeah, and then they'll be like, oh, this is a clone, like we'll go on the real one, yeah,
True.
and then they pop the ult and they're like, oh, no.
I'm used to do this when I played like Shaco Top, AP Shaco Top, or whatsoever.
Mhm.
It's funny, but I agree. I don't do it much.
Yeah.
In jungle.
So like here, we're on top of him, great, and now look, we're just running away.
Mhm.
Like, so it's like, oh, well,
And then he's chasing me.
yeah, and now he's like, oh, well, this one's like, he was actually focusing this one at first. Like, and then as soon as you start running away, he's like, oh, wait. See, he starts focusing that one, and then we run, and then he's like, oh, no, wait, it is this one.
Mhm.
And now this never pops. Ah, actually, it does. Never mind. I'm inting. I thought this was a fight where you didn't pop your ult, or it didn't go off. So this is fine. We got his flash. Like, we don't have to worry too much. It's quite hard to gank Malza's Shaco anyway. Because if you aim for the slow, he just absorbs it and it does nothing. So yeah, so this was fine. So this was actually a good box. I will say some of the like preemptive boxes you put down are quite effective.
Yeah, I always set up objectives with boxes
Yeah.
usually.
So yeah, here like so another really really big change that's come lately. I don't know if you read the full jungle changes. I mean you'll see it because of the smite changes. So one of the things due to the fact that smite has been changed is you can never really flip an objective anymore. Like not if they have a way of getting in the pit, because your smite after 5 is the exact same. There's no more getting 2-3 levels through. Yeah. There's no more you path well, you get 2-3 levels and you get a bigger smite. Now it's a case of if you flip an objective, like it's always going to be a flip unless you kill the enemy jungler. Now obviously the remedy to this is you kill the enemy jungler. So that's kind of one of the things we always want to look out for before we do an objective. And here, for example, like he just walks into us and we can just jump on him. Like
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah.
I could have. I know I had E and CD, but
yeah. So
yeah, that was my bad.
yeah. So right here.
So like when the item proc, giving him invincibility,
Dustblade, yeah.
I thought it died.
Yeah, don't worry. I've actually done that quite a few times, especially with Master Yi's. Like he's either queuing or he's Dustblade, or even though I think they changed Master Yi, I think it was this patch, so Dustblade isn't as good, but it's still enough.
Master is not playing with this anymore.
Have they actually? Was it this patch?
I don't know, but I don't see him that much with Dustblade anymore.
Yeah, it's because they changed it, so the Kraken is actually very good on him now. Okay, it wasn't. It was last patch.
There's some nerfed in some ways, no? The Dustblade.
I mean, it gives him more power in the mid to late game by a significant amount, but a bit less early. Because the thing is, lethality falls off as soon as they start building resistances.
Yeah.
So if he snowballs before they can buy resistances, then great. And again, the same concept. This is why Yi is so good as well. Same concept. Like, if you're playing Yi and you get super ahead, and then laners start building armor against you, they have less damage, and your laners become automatically stronger. And you'll find in some cases, your laners will end up, because they keep itemizing into damage, they'll end up in a position where they're now actually stronger than the enemies in lane because they're building, say, cloth armors to stop the Yi from murdering them. Yeah, but then Yi gets true damage anyways, so it's kind of pointless. That's why Yi's just so good. especially in solo queue. But yeah, so
Try to again, but not that comfortable with him.
yeah, he's a little bit of a strange playstyle. You have to really know matchups on him. He's a basic champion. Like the way you want to see it is basic champions usually require a much broader understanding of the game and the matchups than more complex champions at times. Now, this isn't applicable for everybody, but if you're playing like champions with huge outplay potential, like the minute things will change the game. So if you just keep focusing on your mechanics, say if you're playing Aurelia, if you just permanently keep focusing on mechanics, eventually you'll get your mechanics pretty good, and then the rest of the game is easier to learn. Whereas if you're playing something like Master Yi, the champion is kind of basic to learn. He does have a few niches in his kit, but the basics are the same. So it's like then you have to know, when can I just go and invade them in the jungle? Like, can they kill me early? Can I just rush Baron this game? Like, so it's more you have to be a little bit more like cognitive of what you're actually doing. But overall, so let's quickly just go back to this play. So one of the actual problems with this play is, oh sorry, it's coming. One of the problems with this play actually is your positioning around the pit. So right now we know we have a box here, and Nocturne like is coming straight in. Now this is another trick that you can use quite often, and it's really handy to know, is if you look at the champions' faces, what do the faces of the champions tell you?
Direction they're going.
Okay, so why?
What do you mean why?
Like, what does...
They're going.
Yeah, but what does that also tell you? How do they input a direction?
Yeah, they clicked somewhere.
Yeah.
soon.
So that's exactly where they've clicked. So where their face is looking means that he's clicked somewhere on this line, which is probably going to be like here. Now, if he doesn't move before that, he's going to hit this box, guaranteed. So we should be ready to instantly jump on him as soon as he gets hit by the box. Because then, like, obviously the box will fear him away, we'll backstab him, E him,
Box procced
and
already.
that's fine. Yeah, so, no. Oh, wait, did it actually? Oh, you might be, yeah, you're right, actually, my bad. It did actually proc on the scuttle.
Yeah, we see the scores.
Yeah, my bad.
Anyway, I understand what you mean.
Yeah, but, I mean, you still could have killed him either way, I think. The box would have still done a bit of damage.
Mhm.
But yeah, he's
It's
still
like right
one
there,
shot.
I should have eat, you know?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
my mistake. I don't know if I missed him or if
I think we eat the Mals. Yeah, I think we eat the Malzahar. Let me have a look.
Bad. Is he like right there? Yeah.
Yeah, we eat Mals.
That was my bad.
Yeah,
He
it's
would've been
fine.
dead and this.
It's fine. At least we know that for the future now.
I'm also too much assuming that champions are dying, you know, surely.
Yeah.
In this case, I focused Mars already because I was pretty sure Noct was.
Yeah,
dead,
yeah. So it's a little bit agreed. It's a little bit
instead of
agreed.
securing, yeah, exactly. Instead of securing the kill and then focus on other gems, I'm already on the other one.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of common. Like a lot of people do that, but like the difference is like when players do that in like Challenger, it's because they know that they're dead. You know.
Yeah.
Or if it's a big team fight and there's 4-person people like hitting one, and there's another really big target in the back that we can maybe kill, then that's fine.
True.
And so this was bad though. This was really bad. So this elo works, but it's just fundamentally terrible. Yeah. So why do you think this is so bad? Like so bad.
Well, I know. In this case, I know it's cheesy, but because I know the turret's gonna be dead, so they can engage me directly. The trash can hook me. I mean,
Yeah. So
I know it's risky.
yeah. So the way we have to look at things like this, let's look at it from the perspective of the enemy team. So right here they have how many people? So they've got their Aatrox, Jhin, and Thresh. So they've got their top and their AD and support, and you're here. So if, say, for example, what should they do when they drop this tower? So when this tower drops, what should they be looking to do?
Not sure. I mean, they would reset and go Nash, I guess, or
No,
directly
no,
Nash.
not really, no. So this is a concept that you can probably apply. Well, you should be applying anyway. Now, mid tower is kind of hard to siege in a lot of different comps because everybody will converge on mid and they'll look to protect mid. This is why usually sieging side towers are usually better because they still have to rotate this big distance to get from one to the other. Now, one of the things that you should always be looking to do is if, say, for example, so let's say this game, we're ridiculously ahead. Let's say the entire team's stomping, and they still manage to push in from here. Or let's say we're behind, actually. No, let's look at it from the other list. So say we are very far behind, and we have, say, a Jinx, just for examples purposes, a Jinx ADC, and their ADC has like 2,000 more gold. How are we going to get gold into our Jinx as an advantage? So what can we do to funnel gold into her?
Like I guess if the tower inhib is down, then we have like full farm coming at us. I don't know.
Yeah, so we're only kind of talking about if this tower is taken. So at this tower, let's say it's impossible to siege mid. What would they do when they back away from this tower? So I think you said reset and Baron, right?
Yeah.
Now, if our Jinx is very far behind and we still want her to do damage, the problem is, unless they're losing waves in the side lane to the towers, we'll have the exact same amount of minions. We'll both have a wave every 30 seconds, and both of those waves will give the same amount of gold because they spawn at the same time. So if Jinx farms that wave and the enemy ADC farms that wave, Jinx is never going to come back into the game, besides kills, but we're not going to use kills. So what other way can Jinx potentially get gold into her that the enemy ADC might not?
Like if the wave is just next to our base.
Yeah.
Frozen or
Yeah, but I mean, maybe the enemy ADC can go and claim that as well. So what other gold sources are there on the map?
jungle.
Exactly.
And the other lanes.
No, jungle camps. So every single time you get this pressure, what actually happens is as soon as these tier 1 towers go, the midway mark shifts from here, or I mean, pretty much, you get what I mean,
Yeah,
shifts from there to all of a sudden, and the safety is here. So now this is way less safe because there's no tower and there's more opportunities to gank from there. So now this is now basically their map. So this now belongs to them, pretty much. And this belongs to you. Now when the tier 2 towers go again, it becomes even more bleak because now this is yours and this is theirs. So if this is theirs and we need to funnel jungle camps into Jinx, if they simply walk through and just clear out these camps, we're so screwed. We're completely doomed. So
Oh, so you mean instead of defending the tower, should have done the camp?
no, I'm saying you should have defended the tower because in a higher elo game,
Oh yeah.
they're walking straight through there to clear that out. So you're either going to walk through there, start it, and then going to come and kill you, or you're going to walk in there, they're already going to be on it, and you're just going to have to leave. Meanwhile, this pressure in mid is gone, which we need to get back because Baron is up. So we need to get mid prio again and potentially take this tier 1 tower, which is paper thin at this point of the game. You can take it so easy. So, yeah, so where we go, based on where they are, is kind of really, really important. And I know it worked in this game, but I did just want to kind of go over why it shouldn't have worked and why it was still kind of a bad thing to do. Because maybe you didn't get punished here for it, but you will in the future. And look, these are kills that you could have got because they overextended, because they tried to siege mid when they couldn't siege mid, like we previously said. Because we've got Lux. Lux will just clear the wave. So yeah. So now we keep going.
This was kind of the fiesta time. Right?
Yeah, this is where we kind of just went a bit crazy. But in theory it's fine because we got 1,000 gold.
Yeah, the 2 shutdowns, like.
Yeah, they really brought us back into the
me
game.
to die on them.
Yeah. And again, now we're at 7 stacks. Like I said before, Medjay's becomes gold efficient at 9. So if you're on, say, like 8, 7, 8 is okay. But ideally, you want that 9. Like, if you reset and you've got, like, power spike items, then, you know, it's okay to upgrade a little earlier. But you are going to lose some gold. So you have to be prepared. If you can't afford to lose gold, then you can't upgrade until 9 Dark Seal stacks.
still the passive and the dark steel is still up with the regeneration, like with the potions?
No, no, no. They removed that
Okay.
a while back. Maybe it was this season or the season before. So
Okay.
it just gives AP and HP now. But I mean, the base stats are already really good for what you get. So even when you buy the item, it's what 15 AP, 40 HP, which is so for 350, it's about 120% gold efficient. So already when you've no 125ish. So whenever you actually buy the item, you already get 25% more gold from it.
Mm.
So you're already getting basically 430 gold for a 330 gold item. 350, sorry. So it's like it's already super good. And then when you get your 10 stacks, it's worth 1200 gold. So you basically triple the gold that you put into it. So even if you don't upgrade it into Medjai's, it can be okay. If you don't really get an opportunity to upgrade it to Medjai's, then fine.
Okay.
But if you do start stacking out on them 10 stacks, instantly get it. I've had games before on Eve where I've backed, got Soak Boots and Dark Seal, and then got 10 stacks on Dark Seal and instantly turned it into a Medjai's before even Mythic. Because
That's crazy.
it's an item that if you're strong enough and you can keep getting kills, you'll keep getting gold without actually basing. It's kind of like
Okay.
one of the niches to it. Like, obviously, when you gain gold, the gold doesn't actually change anything in that moment that you gain it. Because
Mm.
until you go to base, it doesn't do anything. But then with things like Medjai's, like, as soon as you get
Stacks.
kills, you get more gold, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's a very good item for staying on the map, which, you know, with a lot of AP champions, you can sort of do. Now, I know it's a little different with Eve because she has a HP regen out of passive, but in general. I'd say now we're at 18 stacks, easily just off one fight. So we got 10 stacks off this fight. So, you know, we're in a really good position now. And we get more movement speed as well, which we've got Cosmic Drive as well. And we've got 10% more movement speed from Medjai's. So yeah, we just end up super fast around the map. And yeah, I think the Demonic Embrace was actually really good here. Especially this fight with Miles here. Where he just did barely any damage to you. Like, look, even with his E.
So that's crazy.
Like, and I actually think Demonic Embrace is kind of underrated on some champions.
I basically did it for the Aatrox, but
Yeah, I mean, it works for everyone. Okay, so we were a little bit late on Smite there as well. So what we want to be looking to do
you show me. That's interesting.
is use your E, like as it's dropping low. So I'd say, let's say a little bit earlier. Uh, hold on, 33. So a little bit earlier. So as soon as it starts dropping down to around the 2k mark, you need to be prepared to use an ability and your smite at the exact
Yeah.
same time.
Okay.
So right here, we need to go, okay, we can't use an E again, we need it. And then as soon as it drops to like the 11 to 1300 mark, just E and smite at the exact same time.
Okay.
Because that's that's the best way you can guarantee it. Because see, it dropped down to 500 HP. So 400 of our smite was completely useless, which gives them the opportunity to potentially steal.
Okay.
Now, it didn't happen here, but in the future it might do. And this is why things like Lee Sin are kind of good at stealing objectives, because his Q's an execute. So he can execute with his Q and then smite at the same time, and it makes... Same with, say, Elise as well. She can use her Q and then smite. So here, again, we just didn't really use the clone properly. So right here, okay, we're in, we're good. Okay, ult. But now, like, don't just run away. Like, you've got a little bit of HP, like, you've got plenty of HP, actually. You're nearly 3k HP. You've got Azonia's, and your Q will come back up. And you've got 25 Dark Harvest stacks. And Ignite and Smite. You've got everything you need to 1v9 this fight. So just stay in it. Make it so that it's not obvious which one's you and which one's your clone.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they still kill clone, which is... I don't know. Interesting, but... Shame we were invis. Shame Nocturne opens up and we can just jump on and kill him there. Maybe Jungle Gap. Oh, wait, no, he did say Jungle Gap. The enemy said Jungle Gap. We did get a... see,
yeah,
mid-top gap. Perfect.
I guess they were just pre-mid.
I don't know. They were just tilted. But yeah. So I mean, so this is it for this VOD review. Obviously, I'll upload it, put it on YouTube. Is there any kind of anything you want to go over again before we finish this VOD, or like any questions or anything?
No, I guess it's fine.
Okay.
So yeah, we try and remember what we talked about.
Yeah. So
quite a lot of insights. So.
So I'll stop the recording now and upload it to YouTube.